to Sports and Courts. Today I'm here with Michael Raymond, the founder of Raymond Representation. Michael, you created Raymond Representation while attending Miami Law, which you just graduated from. Congrats. How do you feel?
I feel like 1,000-pound weight has been lifted off my shoulders. But no, I feel, listen, my slogan is stressed and blessed. So I'm super grateful for everything that's ever happened to me and, my family and everything that we have going on. And I'm just grateful to be a graduate of University of Miami also, like where my parents went to school. So it kind of was like a full circle moment for us. And I'm happy. I got nothing to complain about, everything's good, happy and healthy.
Happy and healthy, love it. So I guess my first question is, did you always want to be a sports agent? And when exactly did you know you were going to go to law school?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I definitely knew I wanted to work in sports. I knew that I wanted to be in some capacity an agent or like some form of representation, whether it was on the court, player contracts, marketing. Wasn't exactly sure. I've seen the movies like Jerry Maguire and the TV shows like Ballers and Entourage and all that. And, I love Ari Gold and, everybody wants to be Ari Gold, right?
Yeah.
But I never really knew what an agent was. I mean, even like in college, like my first year or two, I was really learning like what an agent actually did. People think that agents just handle contract negotiations and that's like the main, gist of our job, but it's far from that. I mean, that's probably the smallest part of our job, if anything. So, I had really amazing mentors that kind of guided me in the right direction. And, that conversation started to shift to become a lawyer first. And, I still wanted to be in basketball. I told everybody the same thing from day one. You will never see me in a law office. And I knew you'll never see me in a courtroom. And, I never say never, but like I had no intentions at all to be a traditional lawyer. I didn't want to be, a litigation attorney. I didn't want to work in a law office with an 8 to 7 job. Not saying there's anything bad about that. But just, it wasn't me. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and that's kind of how I've always been. My mom's an entrepreneur. She has her own business, 32 years. And I'm a big personality. Like, I like to have my own brand and kind of speak and be a leader. And that's just how I am. So I knew it wasn't for me. That was my route was always to kind of be an agent and to help mentor these young kids.
And not only are you an agent, you have an agency literally named after you. So there goes the leadership.
That's the easiest thing. It's the easiest name to pick. Well, you know what? Let me just touch on that real quick. I think that's a funny point because there's a lot of agencies, right? There's a lot of agents. First of all, there's a lot of agents, super oversaturated market. That's why a lot of people don't recommend getting into the space because there's a lot of agents. And on top of that, it's a very transactional and money-driven space. Unfortunately, I mean, it's been like that for a long time. And you kind of just have to be built for it and kind of play the game. And one of the things that I'll say is regarding the name is I picked Raymond Representation because I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. And I was like, I think that's more of a traditional business like name. That sounds like a law firm as well. Or like, some kind of legal aspect you can implement into the Raymond Representation name. What I didn't want to have is like some weird name like all these other agents have is like, they have like For Life Sports or like sports. And I'm like, that has nothing to do with like you guys. And then like they try to say that it's like some kind of positive message behind it or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you and the other 5,000 companies that have the same exact name, like Dribble for Life or some weird, you know what I mean? So like I was just not trying to do that. Yeah. And I thought the easiest thing to do was to have my last name be there because, I want to put my family on the map. Have that name. So
well, you are. Raymond Representation is known. So there
Raymond
you
Rep, baby. Raymond Rep.
So what was your biggest motivation in starting the sports agency, especially in law school? And correct me if I'm wrong, you started it in the midst of a pandemic, right? So what was your biggest motivation in that?
There's a lot to that. I mean, first of all, to get a job in the sports agency business is really difficult. And people don't even realize that. Like there's internships out there, all the big agencies, they have internship programs, but to stay with an agency and really grow with them. And first of all, one of the things that I was looking for after having that experience already through UCF, because I went to UCF before I went to Miami, and I had an amazing mentor there, Scott Buckstein, who's the director of the sports program. he had connected me with some agents. I was working with them doing side projects. I was working under a business manager who was absolutely incredible. I mean, one of my closest friends and advisors, Orrin Mayers, he represents Ray Allen and John Morant, who are like the biggest. So he taught me literally everything that I needed to know about business management, marketing, etc. And just being a really good guy. Like, he's just an amazing human being. But what I learned real quick was I wanted someone that could really teach me. And that's something you can't find. It's not easy to find. You really need to find a mentor in the space. And I was connected with so many agencies and agents, but all the internships were very rinse and repeat. It was like kind of the same thing over and over again. You know, go work for this guy, do some scouting reports, recruit some players, you know, brand deals, whatever. And basically it's like, if you're not bringing them a high level client, you're probably out the door by the end of the year. Right. And, you know, that was my mindset going in. And I was like, I'm sick of this. I've already done this for 3-4 years. Like, I'm not doing this again, especially now that I'm in law school. You know, I could be doing an internship with a law firm, with a judge or whatever, and hopefully make, you know, get a good job and a good money opportunity by the time I graduate. And I can't be working for a big sports agency making $40,000 a year doing that. So what's funny, and to kind of wrap this up quickly, is like my best friend was actually sitting on my couch in Weston, which is where I live. Like, where I live in Miami now with my family in Weston. And he was like, Michael, he's like, you're already helping out so many basketball players. Like, you're doing camps for them in the summer. You're helping them connect with new agents, new teams, whatever. Like, just like get the name Raymond Representation on Instagram, just so you have it. Swear to God, this is like a true story. He was like, just so you have it saved, so nobody can take it from you like in the future. And he was like, why don't you get like a cool little logo, just like kind of have like a small company formatted, whatever. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So I kind of did that. And I remember I even had an announcement on my Instagram. This is like 2 years ago, and it's probably still on there. And I said that I was in the business of like athlete management and marketing. I wasn't an agent, but I was helping athletes with like marketing deals, social media, camps in the summertime, you know, connecting them with agents that I had known and had good relationships with to help them get exposure. And I did that for like 6 months through law school. And that was like the first semester of my 2L year, like you're about to be in the fall. And literally the same time. And I did that for 5 months. I didn't make any money. It was literally for free. I was helping all my friends, you know, UCF guys, Miami guys, whoever I knew. And one of my clients, Justin Gray at the time from Texas Tech, was like, why don't you just like get your agent certification? Like, you're literally you're doing what my agent does, if not more. So just like get it. And, you know, I know your plan wasn't, because my plan was to get it after law school. I didn't want to get it during law school. And he was like, just take the test, get your license, get an MBA certification, a FIBA certification, and I'll help you get some guys. And we'll slowly just start learning this business and grow whatever together. And that's what I did. And it kind of was just like a rocket ship through there. And I never, ever expected it to become what it has. I say that in all honesty. I didn't think that it would be a sports agency. I didn't think that we would have an NIL division, a women's division, 25 clients, like 6 figures in marketing deals. I didn't think any of this. Like, I was planning on just doing basketball, and that was it. And it just kind of just like, it really just like blew up kind of like through school. It was crazy.
What a blessing. Oh my God. So inspiring.
It was a blessing. It was crazy. I mean, I will say just the last thing is, it all comes down to just like relationships and just being like a genuine good person, because in this business, there's a lot of toxicity, and that does exist. And I tell people that it's not for everybody. It's not. I mean, trust me, I've had days where I've questioned it a million times over, like to give it all up and move on to the next thing. And then there's days that I love, and I'm like, all right, this is the best thing that's ever happened. So you get both.
Right. So I guess following up from that, what do you think? You know, we're young. Yeah. It's hard to get clients. It's hard to get clients at such a young age. And, you know, you're literally taking over someone's career, whether it's basketball or any type of sport. And, you know, it takes a lot to trust someone. So what do you think your biggest hurdle has been in creating that sports agency and getting that trust factor and like understanding like, yeah, I'm young, but I'm still going to be there for you as a sports agent and whatever else you need?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. There's a mix, right? There's pros and cons to that. Yeah. So the pros are, one, you're relatable. You can really have a great conversation with these guys. You can relate to a lot of the things that they like. And also the sports agency business is shifting. It's changing dramatically. It's becoming younger. It's becoming more, who's relatable to these guys on top of having the connections and the relationships as well. That's important. You need to have that. But a lot of the old school guys are starting to hire younger agents to help them, recruit and get those higher level players, because that's where the business is going. I will say the negative is obviously the experience factor, being so young. I get that question all the time. Don't get me wrong. I think the thing that we have done to kind of separate ourselves and really change the game when it comes to that question is I've surrounded myself with nothing but experience and nothing but leaders. The people that work with my team, the advisors that I have, and the mentors that I have that just believe in me and like what we're doing here, they will back me with anybody. And at the end of the day, those are guys that have 20 years experience, have 30 years experience, have done every deal, worked with NBA players, et cetera. And that's been the game changer, I think. And, like just giving an example, like one of my basketball partners, Keith Kreider with Edge Sports, 22 years in the business, unbelievable, just amazing guy overall, and has a great agency and business. So like, that's been something that I think really helps. And I think it's important. And I think that's what you could do as a young, agent getting into the space to really differentiate yourself.
Right. So not only were you young, you were a young law student doing the sports agency. So
that too, like the
like,
law school aspect helped as well. Like, but like telling these parents, like, listen, I don't mess around. Like I grind, I'm in law school full time and I'm building this agency. I think they respected that a little bit. And they saw the grind, they saw the hard work, and
they saw the hustle. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
and that's important.
yeah, and as a young law student as a law student myself, I barely had time for me. So I'm just
one L.
nonetheless, 2L is going to be the same, but it's just amazing. So I guess I'm wondering, what did your daily schedule even look like doing law school and working on this agency at the same time?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, listen, I won't lie to you. I put the agency first.
Okay.
I definitely died down on my law school duties of like studying and reading and doing all that. I will say, like, I had to juggle both. It was difficult, definitely was. And the good thing about this business is I work from my phone and my computer. I can be anywhere at any time. I mean, most of the things that I'm doing are phone calls or deals through email, through Zoom calls like this with companies and people. And one of the things I knew that I couldn't do, which I'm still just getting into now, is in-person recruiting and events. I couldn't do that with law school because we had classes every day. So one of the things that I'm really excited about is I tell people this, they have no idea. We have never even done in-person recruiting. Like my whole roster is through social media and word of mouth. So like, wait till I start going to these like AAU tournaments, college games, and the draft and summer league. I feel like our roster is going to get a lot better. And it's already incredible now. I mean, I love our roster, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, a day-to-day is like, listen, I really, really pride myself in my physical and mental health. So I take that super seriously. And that's kind of a non-negotiable for me. I get up really early. I spend time, meditating, planning my day, putting together a list of what I need to do, drinking my coffee, reading a little bit of a book. And I hit the gym every day. Like, if I don't hit the gym, I'm in a bad mood. Like I either hit the gym or I go for a walk, run, whatever. I live in Miami. It's beautiful here. Like I got to get outside. So that's a non-negotiable, no matter what day it is, no matter where I am. I don't really care, other than like a Sunday. And then really the rest of my day is just grinding on the computer in the office. I have one of my rooms is an office here in my apartment, and I work out of here. And then I study in the mornings for the bar, which I'm studying right now for just the first portion of the bar, not both. I split it up because I couldn't take the whole thing together. Yeah. So I split up the bar. I'm taking the MBE portion. So I study for like 3-4 hours in the morning, and then the rest of my day is planned on Raymond Rep stuff.
Busy man. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
The fact that you put gym in all of that in itself is wow, because I can't.
The gym is my favorite part of my day because like I love going to the gym. I mean, the steam, the sauna, get a nice lift in. It's fantastic. Play a little basketball sometimes.
I wish I could say the same.
You gotta hit that New York equinox, all right? Gotta hit the New York equinox.
Oh God. And then, okay, so So there's also other young people who are interested in starting their own agency and becoming sports agents. So what would you recommend to those individuals? And what advice could you offer to these individuals about something that you know now that you may not have known as you were creating the sports agency?
Yeah. One of the things that I emphasize all the time is relationships are the most important aspect of this business, period. I mean, there's nothing else. You can know everything about the CBA. You can know everything about basketball. You could be a basketball fanatic. It doesn't mean anything if you can't build a relationship with some of these guys. And you need to remember, you're not only building a relationship, but you have to be an effective communicator, which I feel like law school is very helpful with. Like, you're talking to so many different people with so many different stories and from so many different backgrounds all the time.
Right.
People from Fort Myers, from Philly, from New York, some have families, some don't. Some have had mentors, some don't. Some have money, some don't. It's so different. Every client is different. And if you can't adapt and build a meaningful, genuine relationship with trust through that, you'll never make it in this business. So that's probably the most important thing. And then I think two is just being able to connect the dots. You have to be a dot connector, which, that means with marketing, with business, with lifestyle, with basketball, all of it matters, especially now, because like I said, the agency business is changing. It's not about, the old school guys that can just do a contract and that's it. The players want everything now, and they expect it quick. They want NFTs, they want social media, they want content, they want clothes, they want cars, they want all that stuff on top of making $100 million on an NBA contract. So the old school agents that didn't really do all of that stuff and just kind of handle the contract portion, it's a struggle right now for those kind of guys. And that's why, they're hiring more and more people to kind of help them that are younger, which is great. That's great. It's going to open the business for a lot more people. That's why I love NIL, and NIL has kind of changed the game for everybody, kind of given us a level playing field with that. So yeah, I mean, that's probably the most important advice. And I think the last thing that I'll say, and I give credit to Keith Kreider for this, he's like my mentor, my guy that I work with. He always says to lead with integrity, and that's the most important thing. Never let money make a decision for you, and, make sure you're always real and genuine and authentic. And at the end of the day, you might lose guys because of that. And, you might not make as much money as you can, but it'll keep you sane and it'll keep you in the business for a long period of time instead of getting weeded out within, 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and that's so important, staying true to yourself, that just
Yeah.
what a great quality to have in someone like a sports agent.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay. And I always do a little insight question. I always do a little fun one.
I'm
So
good.
what would you tell 10-year-old Michael today?
Oh, wow. That's a crazy question. First thing I'll tell him is that the Eagles still suck.
Okay.
But they did win a Super Bowl. So I didn't know that at 10 years old, which was my best moment in my life. No, I mean, I would say that's a great question. I never thought about it. I guess I would say just keep pushing, keep grinding. It's all going to work out. Everything will work out. Just keep grinding, no matter how bad stuff happens. I'm not the best student, which people don't know. I never was the best student in high school, middle school. I was always a kid that got kicked out of class, was talking and yapping at the teachers. So.
Well, it all worked out. You graduated from Miami Law, so.
I don't know how.
JD.
I haven't got the degree in paper yet, in the mail. So
really?
Don't jinx it.
Okay. Fingers crossed for you. And then I guess just my last question to wrap it up is, obviously you graduated. Hopefully your JD is coming in the mail. You're thriving with clients. And where do you see Raymond Representation going in 5 years? What's the goal?
Yeah, that's the question I love to answer, because my vision is pretty clear, and I'm very concise with this. I mean, I want to be one of the top 10, I wouldn't say agencies, but top 10 boutique style agencies that are smaller, but, having 4 to 5 MBA clients that are high level, continuing to run the NIL space and really do high level deals. And also be able to hire more people to help build and evolve this company, because we just hired our first employee that helps run the women's division. Her name is Miji Suarez. She's amazing. So she's helping with the women's side now, managing all of those clients, which is about 7 amazing women athletes and influencers. And then we have a whole influencer division, and then I have the basketball side as well. So it's like, I would love to keep adding maybe some more agents to help me on the basketball side specifically, and hopefully maybe branch into other sports like football, baseball, etc., and bring on other agents to kind of be under our umbrella to do that. But to keep it short and sweet, the goal is to just keep growing and growing, literally keep growing and
Really
growing.
keep growing and growing and take over, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I have no, like, my mindset is not to change at all what we're doing. Like, keep growing. I'm 125% invested in Raymond Rep. Like, there's no other questions in my mind of what I'm going to be doing. This is it. So, period.